Hello, I'm Tom Swarbrick, and these are some of, apparently, my best bits from 2025.
You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war,
you're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards.
Playing cards.
But right now, you don't. Yeah, you're playing cards.
This is like literally still watching this back, even now. The hairs on the back of your neck go up because we weren't even sure when this was happening that it was going to be very particularly newsworthy. Maybe they'd talk for 2 minutes and then go into the meeting. And then this just exploded out of nowhere.
You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
I have never in my life heard anything remotely close to what we have just witnessed. We have just witnessed history. We have just witnessed something that is closer to Jerry Springer over war on the European continent.
I honestly didn't know what to say. I really didn't know what to say. Honestly didn't know. It's amazing a sentence came out of my mouth at that point, to be honest.
Honestly speechless.
See, I'm not lying.
There's a press conference going to happen later. Apparently, I don't know. I mean, who knows whether it's going to happen later? There's a press conference between Zelenskyy and Trump going to happen later. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if someone's going to emerge with a black eye.
I mean, in the end, the press conference didn't happen. Zelenskyy left.
Zelenskyy looked like he was going to cry at points during that.
One of the things about being on at the time I'm on is that America is waking up, Europe is going to sleep, and so you get a lot of stuff happening, not least in the last year or so as President Trump has been leading America. So every time we go to something that Trump is involved in, you just don't know what happened, to the point where I now hear and see so much of him that the team have to edit me out because I'm too busy doing all the hand movements and giving it the kind of Trump. Because he is, whatever you think of the guy, he is kind of mesmerising to watch. He's crazy to watch. And it's a strategy of his to be like that because he knows it draws the cameras in. He knows that it draws the media in. Fair play, it works.
Claiming benefits, shameful. You should feel ashamed. They can help you for a short time, I agree, but you cannot live and have generation after generation getting a house. My niece, my big fat niece.
What?
Always talk about her, has never had a job from 18, she's 36, never worked. Then she has a child.
Sorry, Andrea, I'm so sorry. Andrea.
Sorry.
Not to tread on family landmines here, but did you just describe her as your big fat niece?
She did.
Yeah, which she is. Lazy, useless, does nothing. But, she's got issues. Yeah, her mother told her probably she had issues.
We tried so hard to find her niece. We spent the next hour and a half of the programme trying to find this woman's niece. I mean, imagine being called out like that by your aunt.
It's at this moment of the programme, if we were really clever about this, guys, we would have Andrea's niece on a line somewhere just to...
We did try. We really tried.
Bring her in at this moment and really... Wow, it would feel very 2010s, wouldn't it?
So, I mean, pretty punchy to be called out by your aunt like that. I think, to be honest with you, I think it's fair game because she didn't actually say her niece's name. I mean, I think she said if it was Sophie Holmes at flat 2A, do you know what I mean? I think that would have been probably too far. But it's always interesting to get an insight into family life of someone you don't know. And I wonder what their Christmas is going to be like if they're around the table together.
There are university graduates who are taking a look at their prospects over the course of the next 5 to 10 years in this country and thinking there aren't many. This ain't it. It's not happening. People can apply for a maximum of £69,000 each year to help pay for...
It's got me into a little bit of trouble.
To help pay for adjustments. And it says here they do not have to be medically diagnosed with a health condition or disability to be eligible for support. Is that true?
No, it's absolutely true.
It's absolutely true.
And one of the reasons that is because all of the waiting lists for support and diagnosis...
Oh, my God. I've got so many questions. I'm really glad you're here to answer them, actually, because... So there is a system in place. This is, and I'm not having a go at you here.
I really didn't. Again, I didn't expect that to be true. So you get a live reaction from someone who knows what they're talking about. This is a woman who knows the benefit system like the back of her hand. And she's saying the thing that is unbelievable is happening.
There is a system in place called access to work for people who have health conditions. Those health conditions do not have to be medically diagnosed in order for people to access this money.
They don't, no.
Oh my God. That's a farce, isn't it? Obviously, that's farcical.
Well, it is and it isn't, Tom.
Look, it's Christmas. I don't want to have a go. I'm not having a go at people on benefits. I'm not trying to traduce people who need the welfare state. I'm just trying to point out an area of it that says that you need a medical condition in order to access that help, but that you don't need to have a medical diagnosis in order to get that help. I just think that is a system that is obviously open to abuse. And while there are people who will need it and should be getting it, you probably need to have a medical illness before you can apply for it. No, does that not seem logical?
To be perfectly truthful, the last time I got paid the winter heating allowance was £500. I used that to pay for my annual car service.
Brilliant.
And most people take it as a Christmas bonus because it doesn't have nothing to do with what they pay for their heating. And I'm going to put a crash hat on after this if anybody knows who I am.
After tax and pensions over £3,000 a month, as does my wife.
Oh, wow.
And I don't want to sound flippant. I don't want to sound flippant in any way, but I was using my winter allowance to go towards a ski pass every year. Which is wrong, really. Obviously, I've contributed tax and all that sort of stuff all my working life, 50 years or more. And if the government wanted to give me the winter fuel allowance, well, then that's great. But I think it's absolutely right that people like me don't get it anymore because it's not going to affect my life at all.
This year we've tried to make pensions sexy, but really we didn't need to bother because everyone else helped us in the way. The reality is someone at some stage is going to have to do something about the amount of money we are spending on old age. And whether that is cutting the winter fuel payment to people who literally do not need it, but then they've reinstated it because it's politically really difficult, or it's handing over state pensions to people who do not need that money. They've got their own private pension. They've got their own arrangement sorted for later in life. They don't need taxpayers of tomorrow to pay them an extra £12,500 a year or whatever it's going to go up to. Someone has to have that very, very difficult conversation politically and also on the radio, even if it is met with much opprobrium. And here's the kicker. And here's what we're going to take into next year. The tax rate is now changing for people who are only on the state pension. If you're only on the state pension and it rises to £13,000 and then £14,000, you won't have to pay income tax on that, even though it's above £12,570. Taking low people out of paying tax, fantastic idea. But only if you're a pensioner. Not sure that works.
Sydney Sweeney, Hasbro Keynes.
So the message that's communicated, you think, covertly in a way, is what? Sort of slightly dog whistle fascistic stuff?
I believe somebody made a mistake and made an oversight, did not consider the diversity of perspectives, and inadvertently, perhaps, although we know that marketing executives have been quite open about wanting to stir some kind of controversy with this campaign, I believe that they inadvertently made this implication and made that parallel between so-called good genes and offspring and the language of passing down these good or great features and this model.
Here comes the wait for the kicker. Here it comes.
Whose initials, quite frankly, don't really benefit the kind of scandal.
Oh, come on.
That is,
oh no, because her initials are SS.
True.
I mean, maybe because she was chosen. Maybe Sydney Sweeney was chosen because her initials are SS to deliver a kind of understated Nazi flavour to the advert for jeans. Maybe.
That is just true. That is not necessarily my opinion, but that is the perception. And as a marketer, you have to understand how your consumers think.
Okay, well, let's just give up and go home. Right, well, it seems from that the Nazis are back and they're trying to sell you jeans. 6:15.
I love Sydney Sweeney.